And by the way, I want to say officially for the press, it's about 110 degrees in this room. Nice job with the air conditioning, whoever, but...
Trump didn't look too well.
But you know what the press will say? You know what they'll say? Trump didn't look well. He was extremely wet. It's 104 or 5 degrees in this room. But we're okay with it, right?
Oh, I don't know if that makes me depressed, but whatever the case, I never want to hear him refer to any amount of moisture ever again. His supporters, though, couldn't get enough of whatever this was.
By the way, speaking of education, because this is largely about veterans, we are going to bring education back to the states so that each state will run 100%. We'll keep approximately 3 people in Washington just to make sure that you're teaching English, okay, as opposed to another language. Okay, you know, you need a little coordination, like everybody has to teach English if you don't mind. But we'll keep a little bit of like 2 or 3 people.
Former President Donald Trump rallied his New Hampshire base at a high school in Windham on Tuesday afternoon, with denouncements of the Biden administration and the 4 cases he is currently facing a week after the Department of Justice announced he would be indicted on charges involving the 2020 election and the January 6th uprising at the Capitol. According to indeftnh.org, Trump's speech contained familiar tunes on closing the border and condemning immigration. Trump claimed the immigrants crossing in from Mexico and other South American countries were coming from places like mental institutions. It's the same old hits.
Another one, they say there's a young woman, a young racist in Atlanta. She's a racist. And they say, I guess, they say that she was after a certain gang and she ended up having an affair with the head of the gang or a gang member. And this is a person that wants to indict me. She's got a lot of problems, but she wants to indict me to try and run for some other office. What's going on in this country is, and by the way, wants to indict me for a perfect phone call. This was even better than my perfect call with Ukraine. Remember that call? That was a perfect call. This one's better. This one is more perfect.
I have no idea of what he's talking about. Someone on X didn't either, but that doesn't matter. The leader and future of the Republican Party, Donald J. Trump, doesn't have to talk about policy or address actual problems with his base, just as long as he brings up being able to speak English or reverse racism. See, a lot of entertainers, which is what Donald is, can only play the hits in their old age, but Trump can make some new material work too. So he's kind of like a racist Mick Jagger or a less racist Eric Clapton. He said it before, when he talks about lowering taxes, his supporters aren't moved. But when he's anti-trans, they go crazy. They're the type to chant, turn off the lights when they get too bright. But shout out to them for withstanding the heat though, because with all these indictments, it's about to get hotter. Michael Shore and David Schuster are coming after you. What you gonna do when they ask a simple question? Don't be like this man. Watch that video in order to prepare yourself. Or you could be like me and tell them, my architect knows Japanese.